Hello everyone, I am the Meta Kirby, and welcome to my channel, The Commander Tavern. The Commander Tavern is a channel dedicated to my favorite Magic the Gathering format. The Brewery is a series on this channel showcasing my spicy brews and other deck techs. On this April Fool's Day episode of The Brewery, I'll be discussing my take on a commander from the My Little Pony secret lair, Discord Lord of Disharmony. If you like this deck or any of the cards I'll be mentioning throughout the video, please consider using my TCG Player affiliate link when purchasing those cards. You can find that link down in the description. It'll really help out the channel at no extra cost to you. But the very best way you can help support the channel is with my Patreon. There are plenty of perks for being a patron, such as early access to certain videos, exclusive deck techs, gifts, and more for as little as $1. You can also become a channel member for just 99 cents. Show off your support with a logo next to your name and exclusive emojis. Or you can always just support my channel for free by simply liking, subscribing, and sharing, which also helps out a lot. I put out a video every Monday, so you don't want to miss out. You can join my Discord server for free if you want to join the Commander Tavern community. All pertinent links are down in the description. Alright, let's get back to the episode. Discord is a 3/5 Chimera with flying for 2 generic, 1 black, and 1 red. This secret card has the funnest, most chaotic triggered ability of all time. At the beginning of your end step, you can cast a random non-land magic card, and mana of any type can be used to cast it. Not only that, but if you cast a spell this way, you copy the ability if Discord is still on the battlefield. This clause helps balance the ability since it's a timing-dependent delayed trigger. In any case, this effect is amazing. Keep in mind that non-land magic cards include heroes, conspiracies, schemes, phenomena, planes, attractions, contraptions, vanguards, bounties, etc. But you can't cast them because they're not spells. The rule of thumb is, if you can add it to a normal magic deck, Discord gets it. You're also not getting any tokens, commander party cards, tiles, dungeons, emblems, sticker sheets, minigames, etc., since those aren't even magic cards. Also, if you manage to get a random spell with a null casting cost, you can't cast it via conventional methods. But we'll see how to deal with that later on in the video. The best part about Discord is being able to get otherwise inaccessible magic cards should you be lucky enough. You can potentially get a Heroes of the Realm card, a digitally exclusive card, say from MTGO, Arena, or the old school computer games, or otherwise unobtainable cards. Imagine how epic it'll be to get 1996 World Champion as your random magic card and you cast a copy of it. Friendship truly is magic. First things first, how do we even generate random non-land magic cards? Easy, thanks to Scryfall. Scryfall has a feature where you can hit the random card button on the home page or at the bottom of any entry. Whenever Discord triggers, just go to Scryfall and hit that button. If you happen to get a land card or a magic card that isn't a spell, like the schemes, planes, vanguards, etc., just do it again. Or you can also input this link each time in your browser. This will guarantee that the random card that appears will not be a land. Hopefully you get something spicy or at least useful. Keep in mind that you have until the next turn to cast it, so even if it's a counterspell or interaction, you can use it if you need it. It might even deter opponents from casting anything. Now, if you do get a spell with a null mana value such as Soul Talisman, Living End, Evermind, etc., you can still cast them thanks to Marshland Bloodcaster. You might think it a waste of a slot to include just in case we potentially get a null-costed spell. Yes, you can use this card to cast null-costed spells by activating it and paying 0 life. But this Vampire Warlock is still useful. Let's say your random card is one with a mana value that's too high for you to cast, but you're fine with paying life for it instead. So it's still pretty useful here. While you have the potential of being able to get digitally exclusive cards, Heroes of the Realm promo, silver bordered cards, acorn stamped cards, banned cards, along with the usual legal fare thanks to Discord's ability, I built this deck with only Commander legal cards, the only exception being Discord. This makes it easier for Rule 0 conversations since it's the only illegal card in the deck, and obvious since it's the Commander. As for how to make the most of the ability, the deck is running Strionic Resonator, Lithoform Engine, and Roaming Throne. So if you really want to go chaotic, just copy Discord's trigger in order to get even more random magic cards each turn. Then, if Discord is still in play by the time its delayed trigger happens, you get to trigger it yet again. This gets out of hand very quickly, essentially giving you access to almost the entirety of Scryfall as a secondary deck. Equipping Discord with Helm of the Host is another way to copy its triggers since you have copies of it itself in play. This also plays in with another aspect of my deck that I want to quickly go over. Recall that if you cast a copy of a permanent spell, it remains on the battlefield as a token copy of that permanent. So if we're getting tokens of Discord as well as permanents, specifically creatures, populating them goes a long way. This is why I'm also running Determinate Iteration, Gired's Belligerence, and Promise of Aklatsots, including these solely because of Helm of the Host would be Magical Christmas Land. However, if we're casting copies of creature spells, then we have other creature copies to populate. So these cards do insane work here, especially if you're copying a busted creature you are lucky enough to get. Mana Acceleration is another way to make the most of Discord's ability, since you can use mana of any type to cast these spells. This means that Discord prefers quantity over quality. This means the deck is running Ancient Tomb, Arid Archway, and Guildless Commons for double colorless mana. And not only these lands, but the deck is also running Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, and Urza's Tower just in case. These don't work unless we have them all in play, but the deck has the potential to draw into a ton of cards. Plus, it won't matter if they just tap for colorless, since we can use any type of mana to cast Discord's copied spells. Soul Ring, Worn Power Stone, Hedron Archive, Ichor Elixir, Sisei's Ring, Stone Speaker Crystal, and Urgolem's Eye are included for more double colorless mana sources, Thran Dynamo and Dreamstone Hedron for triple colorless mana sources, and Chromatic Orrery as the quintuple colorless mana source. Again, what Discord cares about is quantity over quality, since this colorless mana can be used as if it were any type to cast anything. The Orrery has the added bonus of having the same effect but for any use, meaning we can use our mana to activate any abilities outside of black and red. But the deck has other ways to manage that, which we'll see in a bit. Doubling Cube is an all-star here since it doubles the mana in our mana pool. Again, quantity over quality. This goes hard when we're copying a ton of random magic cards each turn if we're copying Discord's trigger. Remember, the more copies we cast with its ability while it's still in play, the more copies of its trigger we keep getting. Artifact-based Mana Acceleration is weak to removal, so the deck is still running things like Wayfarer's Bauble, Sword of the Animus, Bitter Thorn, Nissa's Animus, British Heart, Canoptic Wraith, Navigation Orb, and Sword of Hearth and Home. The equipment also go away with mass artifact removal, but hopefully you ramped some lands with them beforehand. The others self-sacrifice to get the lands, which is fine. The deck is running 8 of each basic land, so there are plenty of picks for these effects. That's enough to cast our own things as well as Discord's spells copies. Cloud Key, Foundry Inspector, Joyous Familiar, Stone Calendar, and Ugin the Ineffable are also included to help us cast spells by reducing their cost. Since the deck is mostly artifacts and colorless spells, these go a long way to not only reduce the generic cost of most things we can get off of Discord, but our own deck as well. Particularly Stone Calendar, since it reduces the cost of all of our spells by 1 generic. Archway Commons, City of Brass, Forbidden Orchard, Gateway Plaza, Grand Coliseum, Mana Confluence, Meridian's Core, Public Thoroughfare, Rupture Spire, Transguild Promenade, Undiscovered Paradise, and Exotic Orchard are lands included to deal with the previously mentioned problem of having permanents with abilities you can't activate for lack of the proper colors. For example, if you manage to get Azorius Guildmage off of Discord, you could cast it, but you wouldn't normally be able to activate any of its ability in a black-red deck. To that end, the deck is also running Chromatic Lantern to not only accelerate mana via a mana rock, but to fix any colors we could ever need. Thanks to these color fixing effects, along with the previously mentioned Marshland Bloodcaster, we can cast any random magic card Discord grants us a copy of. Of course, these lands aren't the best for any kind of commander deck, but as with all of my deck techs, you can build your mana base however you want. Since the point of the deck is to have as much fun as possible with Discord, obviously Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, Champion's Helm, and Whisper Silk Cloak are included in case opponents get scared of all the stuff Discord is giving us access to at the end of our turn. The deck can still somewhat function without Discord since it has interaction of its own in the form of Vandal Blast, Damnation, Navinarel's Disc, Invasion of Fiora, Blood Money, Overwhelming Forces, Ingarrick's Wake, and Plague Wind for its board wipe effects. Some of these are symmetrical, but that's fine because we'll be facing against constructed decks and the purpose of this deck is to be random and fun. If RNGesus doesn't bless us with amazing spells, we won't care if the board is wiped. Bedevil, Chaos Warp, Guthrie Writes History, Introduction to Annihilation, and Scar from Existence are included for spot removal as well as Sibyl's Trickery and Warping Whale for that unexpected counter magic. This helps round out the interaction of the deck. If we're not getting any powerful stuffs thanks to Scryfall, then no one gets to play their own powerful stuff from their deck. War Room, Argel's Bloodfast, Underworld Connections, Urobo's God of the Dead, and Greed are included to help us dig through the deck. Yes, they require life to activate, but life is a resource and these card draw effects are repeatable, which is what matters most. Endless Atlas is also included as a repeatable and activatable source, while fortunately not requiring life to activate. We just need to comply with the land's clause, which should be fine with the 8 of each basic land in the deck. Call of the Ring, Eye of Vecna, Black Market Connections, and Phyrexian Arena will also draw us cards via paying life, but only during our upkeep. That's not necessarily a bad thing, we're just not in control of when it happens. We can also get treasure off of Black Market Connections as a nice bonus. Mind's Eye and Staff of Nin also provide card advantage outside of our control, but at least we can do so without paying life, so they're good enough for the deck. We can also draw further thanks to Alhammarret's Archive, doubling how many cards we draw outside of the first one in our draw step. This boosts those upkeep draw effects. As a bonus, it also doubles the life we gain. Now, that may seem inconsequential since this deck doesn't have a single life gain card in it. All the opposite. There's a bunch of effects that require life to use. This is why Exquisite Blood is included in the deck. In a multiplayer game, this gains us a ton of life, especially since it's whenever an opponent loses life, regardless why. Just make sure you let your pod know that you are not running its other half. I'm not, at least. The goal of the deck is not to win with the Sanguine Blood Exquisite Blood combo. That is, unless Discord wants it to happen and you manage to get Sanguine Bond as the random card name. Then you have been truly blessed by RNGesus. By the way, tell me in the comments what epic, weird, obscure, strong, or Deus Ex Machina cards you got at random when playing with Discord. I'd love to read your stories. This brew is just an idea of how to build around Discord Lord of Disharmony. To me, the point of playing with Discord is to play with the entirety of Scryfall at your fingertips as your actual deck, albeit drawing at random. This is why the deck itself is built around facilitating, amplifying, copying, and supporting this effect, while also still being able to disrupt opponents and their boards because we still want to win while preventing them from winning. This is easily one of my favorite cards in a long time, and I hope to build this sooner in paper. If you're interested in the deck list of this spicy brew of mine, you can find a link to it down in the description. I would like to thank all my patrons for supporting me, and a quick shout out to all my higher tier patrons, the brewers, for their patronage. I'd also like to thank anyone using my TCG Player affiliate link, that also helps out the channel. I also want to thank any channel members, your membership is greatly appreciated. I also want to thank those who voted for this video, this is thanks to you. And to everyone, thanks for watching this episode of The Brewery on the Commander Tavern. I am the Meta Kirby, happy brewing, and have a fun April Fool's Day.